Hello everyone, it is Mr. Francis for the next installment of Reading with Mr. Francis. I am going to read you a story that was requested that I had in my book box at home. Do you guys have book boxes when you read in school? Well, I have a book box of all my favorite books, and this happens to be another one. It is A Pocket for Corduroy. And if you actually take a look at the book, you can see that it looks kind of old and it's kind of faded. That's because I've had this book for a very long time when I was a little kid. So I'm going to read you this story. It's called A Pocket for Corduroy by Don Freeman. I want you to pay attention to all the different characters that you see in this story because we're going to talk a little bit about them at the end. And you could probably tell the characters by some of the different voices that I use. You can use different voices when you read stories that have dialogue. That is where other people are talking, and you'll see a lot of that here in this story, A Pocket for Corduroy. Here we go. It is by Don Freeman. He does the stories and the pictures, so he is the author and the illustrator. Late one summer afternoon, Lisa and her mother took their laundry to the laundromat. Lisa carried her toy bear, Corduroy. They're headed to the laundromat. What's that? The laundromat was a very busy place at this hour. Now, Corduroy, you sit right here and you wait for me, Lisa said. I'm going to help with our wash. Corduroy waited patiently. Then he suddenly perked up his ears. Lisa's mother was saying, "Be sure to take everything out of your pockets, Lisa dear. You don't want your precious things to get all wet and soapy." "Pockets?" said Corduroy to himself. "I don't have a pocket." He slid off the chair. "I must go find something to make a pocket out of," he said, and he began to look around. First, he came to a pile of fancy towels and washcloths, but nothing was the right size or color. Then he saw a huge stack of colorful clothes in a laundry bag. "There ought to be something in there to make a pocket out of," he said. So what's Corduroy looking for? Yeah, he's looking for a pocket. Without hesitating, he climbed inside the bag, which was filled with pieces of wet laundry. The dampness didn't bother Corduroy in the least. "Oh, this must be a cave. I've always wanted to live in a dark, cool cave." Later, when Lisa looked for her bear, he was gone. "Oh, Mommy, Corduroy isn't here where I left him." "I'm sorry, honey," said her mother, "but the laundromat will be closing soon and we must be getting home." Lisa did not want to leave without Corduroy, but her mother insisted. "You can come back tomorrow," she said. "I'm sure you'll find him." As they left, a young man wearing an artist's beret was taking his wet laundry out of a bag. The very bag Corduroy had discovered. Before he knew it, Corduroy was being tossed, together with all the sheets, shirts, shorts, and slacks. Do you see Corduroy? I do. Inside the dryer. But just as the artist was shutting the glass door, Corduroy tumbled out onto the floor. "How in the thunder did that bear get mixed up with all my things?" the artist wondered. Poor Corduroy was damp all over. "The least I could do for him is give his overalls a good drying," said the man. He unbuttoned Corduroy's shoulder straps and he put his overalls in the dryer. What happens when you put clothes into the dryer? What happens to them? Corduroy grew dizzy as he watched the clothes spinning round and around. But the artist became inspired. "Oh, this would make a wonderful painting," he said as he took a sketch pad out of his pocket and began drawing the swirling colors. "I can hardly wait to go back into my studio." Finally, the dryer stopped whirling and the man gathered up the clothes. Then he helped Corduroy put on his warm, dry overalls. All at once, the manager of the laundromat called, "Closing time! Everybody out!" Wow, we've got a lot of characters in our story, don't we? Corduroy was gently placed on top of a washing machine. "I wonder who that bear belongs to," said the artist as he was leaving. "He should have his name someplace. He's too fine a fellow to be lost." As soon as the lights were turned off, Corduroy began his search again. He was surprised to see something white glowing in the dark. "Maybe it's snow. I've always wanted to play in the snow." He accidentally tipped over the open-lidded box, and suddenly he was covered with soft, slippery soap flakes. Gradually, Corduroy began to slip and slide. "Oh, what fun!" he said with a smile. "I've always wanted to ski down a steep mountainside." He's having a good old time. Then he landed paws first in an empty laundry basket. "This must be a cage," he said, peeking through the bars. "I've never wanted to live inside a cage like a bear in the zoo." But now Corduroy felt drowsy as soon he nodded off to sleep. That's my dog Simon. Don't worry about him. Next morning, when the manager came to open the laundromat, there was Lisa waiting. "I left something here yesterday. May I look around?" "Certainly. My customers are always leaving things." Lisa was searching under the chairs and in the back of the washing machines when she heard the manager call her. "Is this what you're looking for, señorita?" Señorita is Spanish for girl or lady. We'll find out. "Yes, yes, he's my best friend," shouted Lisa. She reached in and picked Corduroy out of the basket. "So this is where you've been, you little rascal. It's time I took you home," she said. Lisa thanked the manager and ran down the street holding Corduroy tight in her arms. "I thought I told you to wait for me," she said. "Why did you wander away?" "I went looking for a pocket," Corduroy said. "Oh, Corduroy, why didn't you tell me you wanted a pocket?" asked Lisa. That very morning, Lisa sewed a pocket on Corduroy's overalls. "And here's the card I've made for you with your name on it to keep it tucked inside," she said. "I've always wanted a purple pocket with my name tucked inside," said Corduroy as he and Lisa nuzzled noses. So, a señorita is a young, unmarried woman. Quick research, just like that. And that is the story, A Pocket for Corduroy by Don Freeman. I know it was a little long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a wonderful time, day. Hope to see you soon. Bye. And just like that, I'm back because I told you I was going to talk about the characters. So who are some of the characters that you saw in the story? Some of the major characters. Well, the first one was Lisa, who was the little girl, her mother, and then Mr. Corduroy. Those were the three major characters that we see in the story quite a bit. And then you also had the guy in the laundromat who had the beret on his head, who was washing his laundry, who found Corduroy. Then you also had the laundromat manager at the end who helped Lisa get her bear back. So hopefully you were able to come up with those characters just like we just talked about. So that is all we have. Thanks for joining us for another installment of Reading with Mr. Francis. Have a good one. Goodbye.